So let me ask the question. Let's get a couple of volunteers. And by the way, I know there's some of you who can't see me because of the pillar. You chose to put your chairs there. I rearranged the chairs so everybody could see. I moved the screen earlier. I took chairs off the sides. Not my first time. So if you do have trouble, just scooch the chairs because I don't want to be rude. But you put your chair behind the pillar. All right, so what's already unique about this session for you? Motivational, what makes it motivational for you? The energy that you bring. Okay, so motivational energy, what else?
In my other sessions I felt kind of siloed, like I was just focused on the front, and now I feel like I'm part of a great group and we're all interacting.
FYI, this isn't about me. You don't give a shit about me, do you? You want great stuff that you can bring back so that you can do something for who? For you, for your team, for your organization, right? I saw another hand over. Yes?
Kind of building off what he said, we talked about that, you know, with just those interactive things we did, we're not scared. It's like we do know everybody in this room already, even though we don't, but it's not that silo effect.
And it's designed that way. It's designed that way because the first thing I asked you to do was just raise your hand. Very easy to do, right? Then the second thing I asked you to do was, okay, stand up. Not so hard, but you know, it's built that way. Then, okay, put your hands up, stretch. Okay, so you go the wrong way, fine, we'll recover. Right? But then by the time I'm getting you to do this, you're like, you're with me now. Now we're friends. Now we're clapping. Okay, I can clap. And you're like, what the hell? Right? But you're in it, and then we do it again, and it's so much easier. And we're all a part of this. If it was just me doing that and you watching, it'd be like everything else that you've been through here, right? Other thoughts? Yes. Say that again?
Everyone else had someone introduce them.
Yeah.
You had a video.
You had a video to introduce them.
Yeah, right? Different. Yes?
We were saying that we've been so on slide, heads down, and absorb, and you pretty much make the focus on you and us moving all around, and not so much each slide and what we should.
This is about you. I didn't move the chairs for me. It's for you. The screen should not be in, I mean, this is not the training, but the screen should not be in the center. The screen is not the presentation. It needs to be off to the side. Now, there's a reason it's off to this side, because people read right to left. We're not going to, you know, we can do this for a couple hours, right? So how many of you noticed these things? So what's unique is, so there was entrance music. You walked into music. Immediate engagement via the previews, right? The visual facilitator introduction you called out. Instant use of humor. Let's have some fun. Quick rapport. Most training lectures, you told me what you don't want. You're in charge of the session. Physical interaction, no chairs activities. Set a lighthearted tone for the session. Simple yet clear slides with no paragraphs. And partner shares, because it's conversation. Who noticed I took off my jacket? Yeah, what's that do for you?
Comfortable.
Yeah, let's get down to business. Let's have some fun. It's casual. Let's set the tone, right? So I mean, you can walk out of here right now and already know how to do this, right? And we've got another hour left, which is awesome. Or a little bit less. So what did you appreciate most about your favorite learning experience? Now get into that same group of people that you were just talking to. And I want you to give them the one thing that you remember most about a great learning experience. It could have been here, it could have been 30 years ago, it doesn't matter. What's one thing you remember the most about the experience itself? Not the content, but the experience. Ready? Set? Go. Say, oh yeah? Very cool. So tell me if any of your responses look like this. Tell me if some of you said, we just want to have a good time. We had a good time, that's why I remember it. Tell me if you said, I had a good facilitator. Not a good speaker, but a good facilitator. They facilitated a great experience. How many of you said we had a great idea? Good idea, great idea. How many of you said, I had a good plan? I got a good plan from the experience. Okay? How many of you said they showed up on time, they started on time, and ended on time? That was finally, right? That worked. How many of you said I got free stuff? Right? This is part of what makes an experience great, but what did you say? What did you say? Give me one or two responses. What did you get out of it? Yes?
Humor.
Humor. So what made it funny?
The facilitator. They had a great sense of humor. They poked fun at themselves, at people in the audience. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. I always joke about me, and you have to. I mean, sometimes people in the audience, they go like this, and they're not really, they're like playing with their hair. I'm like, are you making fun of me? You gotta have fun. Yes. Another response or another thought. What made the experience great?
I learned something about my team members.
You learn something about the people that you work with, your team members. Yeah, that always makes it interesting, because it's personal. Yes.
I think for me, because I'm more introverted, that the interaction, even though I hate it, once you do it and do it, you know, like you did in the beginning, it makes you a lot more relaxed.
Yeah. You would never guess this, I'm an introvert. I don't like people. What is an introvert? An introvert gets energy from themselves, right? I don't need you to, I can do this alone. I get energy from me. Your energy does not impact me in any way. That's what makes me introverted, but I'm expressive. So there's your personality style, then there's your genius style. Also not the session we're doing, but you're absolutely right. Right? I appreciate that. Cool. So let me share with you a story. How many of you have ever been skiing before? Cool. How many of you have not been skiing? How many of you know what skiing is, though? All right. So this is me when I had hair. Okay. This is Ken. I'm sorry. This is Brian. This is Ken, and this is the other Brian's leg. Okay. So it's me, Brian, and Ken. We decided to go skiing years ago. We'd never done it before. We showed up, and the person at the counter gave us two options. They said, well, you can take lessons and go on the bunny hill, or you can just go on the hill right now and go skiing. Ken and I, we heard bunny hill. No, we're not doing that. So Brian and Brian said, we're going to take the lessons. We're going to go on the bunny hill. We're going to go do this right. And they looked at us like snarky. Ken and I, we snapped in our boots, clicked in our skis, and we waddled about 1,000 feet to the ski lift. Because nobody told us you could walk and put your skis on when you get there. So now we're waiting for this magical chair that nobody tells you, doesn't stop. Okay? If you've been skiing before, the ski lift is the chair that just goes around and all the way up and down. It doesn't stop. So, we finally got on this thing. And halfway up the mountain, Ken looks at me and he says, are you ready? I said, yeah. Are you ready? He said, yeah. So as we get closer to the mountain, to the top of the mountain, we realize we're not ready. And we fall off a 4-foot hill. That's the hill, that the ski lift pushes you off of so you can slowly glide down, get ready. We're on the floor. So we get back up, we picked our skis up, learned our lesson, okay? And we walked over and we put our skis back on in front of this long black line. And at the end of the black line, all the way over here, is a pole. And at the top of the pole is a sign. On the sign are 2 black diamonds. Wait, you know what that is? Double black diamonds, hardest mountain ever, right? So Ken and I are standing here at the top of the double black diamond, never having skied before. Same conversation. Ken says, Joe, are you ready? I said, yeah, we'll figure this out. So I put my thing on, I got the things on, my face is all red, my ear, everything. I'm good, I got my pulse. I said, Ken, are you ready? He said, no. I heard go. Where do I get my reference from if I've never been skiing before? The Olympics. How do Olympic skiers ski? They put their feet in, bend their knees, tuck in their poles, and lean forward. No, it was fun. How fast do you think I went down that mountain? Now, when you're an Olympic skier, you know how to slow down, you know how to turn, you know how to move out of the way, you know how to dodge people and things. But I didn't know how to do that, so I went straight, literally straight down the mountain. Didn't fall once, very impressed, but I went straight down the mountain. But you know the part where the snow ends and the grass begins? That's the part where an Olympic skier would go, okay, I think I'm done here. You know the part where the grass ends and the gravel begins? Olympic skiers nowhere to be found here. You know the part where the gravel ends and the parking lot begins? Boom!
I hit a trailer.
And as I got up, the people in the trailer came out and they heard me knocking. And they said, are you okay? I said, I'll live. I still have the snow pants to prove it. I stitched them all up, right? And then I see 2 people running at me. Who do you think they are? Brian and Brian. Oh my goodness, are you okay? So we begin having this conversation. Did you see us doing this? I didn't see anything. No? And then they asked me the most important question. They said, where's Ken? And there he was, walking down the mountain, skis in hand. As he approached us, he took off his glasses and his hat, blood all over his face. What happened to you? I mean, I had a trailer, but what happened to you? He said, you know the trees. Kind of got into an argument. Do you think I would have approached skiing a little differently if I was married? versus, being just this young kid? Do you think I would have done that? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Do you think, easy question, right? Do you think I would have approached skiing differently if I had 2 kids?
Yes.
In fact, I'm not allowed to do anything dangerous these days, my wife says. She's like, your skydiving days are over. But everything's about context. We approach everything in our life differently based on what's happening in our life. It's all about context, and it's not about what? Content, right? 1,000 points right there. Okay? It's a game where you get all the points, but the points don't matter. Right? It's about context. So let's focus on this idea of what? On what? Context. You're all alive, check your pulse, pinch yourself. Right? We've got to get engaged, okay? So there's a great debate going on. You've heard it, you've been a part of it. There's the content, which is what goes in the glass. And then there's the context, which is the glass itself. What's more important? The glass, right? Because the glass could be bigger, it could be taller, it could be wider, it could be cracked, it could be shattered, it could be a different color, it could be a different thickness. It's your experience, it's your background. It's the person that you're dumping the content into. They're going to hear it completely differently. Same reason why 300 of us, all of us, we can see a car accident right now and see it completely differently. Maybe some of you know someone who's passed on because of a car accident. Maybe you were in a car accident. Maybe you caused a car accident. Maybe you've never seen one before. Based on your context, that changes the way you view the event. Would you agree? Yes. So we've got to focus on the idea of context. Here's why. Content's everywhere! And in most places, it's free. It's free. I guarantee you could have gotten at least half the content from this conference without coming here. Without putting much effort into, right? I mean, what's your go-to place for content these days? Google, okay, internet, what else? I don't raise my hand for me, this is for YouTube, okay, yes?
Facebook.
Facebook, TED, right? And it's all here. Content's everywhere. Man killed dog, how do you respond? Okay, but here's the rest of the context. Man killed dog attacking baby. Different response. Man killed dog attacking baby, baby started it. It's all about context. Are you with me so far? Right? It's all about context. So let's not focus on the content because you can get it anywhere. Let's focus on how we deliver it and the people we're delivering it to. If you're with me, give me an oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right? Much better response than yes. And I know that because I've been teaching my 2-year-old daughter. I said, Ella, say, oh yeah. She goes, oh yeah. I said, say, oh yeah, baby. She goes, oh baby. So we've got to focus on context. Let's play a game. What color does it say? White. What color is the screen? White. What color is my shirt? White. What color is a white piece of paper? White. What do cows drink? Milk. What do cows drink? Water. Who said milk? It's about context. I control your context. You control the context, you control the world. Right? And everything is one-to-one. All communication, right now it's one-to-one. Because if I don't look at you, if I don't speak in your language, if I don't speak slow enough for you, or loud enough, or quiet enough, how are you going to feel? Yeah, alienated or disconnected, or you're not here. If I didn't look at you the entire time, or look in your area, because there's 100-something of us in here, how would you feel? Think about it. Every communication, no matter how many people it is, it's one-to-one. Okay? And here's the idea. People who are clear on their goals, their personal things, are 33% more likely to be committed to the organization. If you could help people get what they want, they'll be more committed to helping you get what you want. Who knows this study? Who's heard this before, by the way? Gallup stuff. Great stuff. If you help people get what they want, they will in turn help you get what you want. It's all about context. We're all listening to a radio station, WIIFM. What is it? What's in it for me? We know this. So we have to be able to answer that question. Not with content, with context. Awesome. Here's the problem. People are used to doing nothing. You already told me you're not going to do anything. I don't need to cite research. You told me you're probably not going to do anything over the next couple of days when you get back and you're going to apply. You said one thing. One thing, right? So here's how we solve it. We got to help people find purpose, meaning. It's got to be simple. It's got to be simplicity, but enough depth that it makes sense so we can do something about it. So all of the training, all the content, the way we deliver it, has to focus on the first thing is what? Purpose, right? The first thing is purpose. There's got to be a great purpose to it, but then it's got to be meaningful. It's got to have a meaning to those people who are hearing it or experiencing it. And it's got to be simple enough. Nobody ever says, can you give me the most complicated way of doing things? No one ever says that. Saying, give me something simple. So who was in the session before where Dennis was talking about sales talent? A couple people, right? And that's the whole idea. People are looking for simple things. Simple things. Nobody wants complex ideas, complex math. And then lastly, it's got to be deep enough. It's got to be deep enough where you could do something with it. Okay? So here's how we're going to approach this. Here's a quote. A teacher who is attempting to teach without inspiring the pupil with a desire to learn is hammering on a cold iron. Think about that. How many of you have ever experienced that happening? Where somebody was trying to teach you something, but they didn't warm you up to it first? They didn't inspire you or empower you or get you to want to learn? Who saw the movie The Breakup with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn? So you know the scene I'm about to reference where Jennifer Aniston says, I want you to do the dishes. And he says, I don't want to do the dishes. She says, no, I want you to want to do the dishes. And what does he say? He says, who wants to do the dishes? Our job is to inspire people to want to learn. That's why it's not about content, it's about context, all right? So here's how we do it. The first piece is learn. You got to teach them something. That's the easiest part. You already know that. The second piece is then say. It's the second part of the model. So it's learn, then say, then do. You got to get them to do it. And then the last piece is reflect. So I'm going to take you through this model. So it's learn, say, do, reflect. What's the model?
Learn, say, do, reflect.
Notice you're doing it right now. You're experiencing this whole model. So I don't need to teach you anything. You're experiencing it. That's the difference. So we've got learn, say, do, and reflect. So let's make some sense of it. If people are just learning, just this is lecture. You've experienced these. You learn. You learn some things. Great. So it's learn, then what's the second piece? Say. So if you're just saying it, then you're just giving feedback. So it's learn, say, do. If you're just doing it, then it's just action. Learn, say, do, reflect. If you're just reflecting, it's meditation. But if you have all the pieces of the puzzle, it changes everything. And I'll give you an example. So I'm the COO at Collegiate Empowerment, and they're like, I don't know what that is. You just keep doing what you're doing. Keep training us. Keep this stuff. So it's great. So we've got this great team, and we focus on training. We do it constantly. We do it consistently, and it's always got to be fun. We always have pop quizzes. So everybody stands up. They have their pretend buzzer. They have whatever sound they're going to make. And we give away unicorns and rainbows, and it's got to be fun. It's sometimes ridiculous. People remember things that are ridiculous. Think about the last Super Bowl commercial that you remember. Maybe it was a Doritos commercial. It was ridiculous. I know that because every Doritos commercial is ridiculous. That's what we remember. So we went through a summit, and we started training. And I started training some of our team members, and one of those team members was Brittany. And Brittany went through this process, and 9 months later, Brittany won an award for best session at a conference. 9 months. She had never presented before in her life outside of college. 9 months. Because she applied the model, and it's not about content, it's about context. And what's the model? Learn,
say, do, reflect.
Okay? A couple more examples. You ever try teaching somebody how to ride a bike, and you only told them how to do it, and you never put them on a bike? How does that work?
Not well.
It doesn't work. You can't say, oh, here's how to ride a bike, and then that's it. You can have them say it back to you, but then you actually have to have them do it. And if they fall off, you reflect a bit. Here's why you fell off. Here's why it's not working. Now let's get back on the bike and do it again. And maybe we'll learn a little bit more, learn differently, and you will say it differently, right? Another example, how many of you have a smartphone? We're going to use it later, by the way. You have a smartphone. If I just told you, here's how to use your smartphone, would you immediately know how to use it? No. It'd be great if you could feed it back to me, you say it back, and then you actually use it, and we reflect, we have a conversation about it. Same thing with getting a car. And cars are more complicated these days than ever. Does anyone have a Tesla, by the way? Tesla Model S? Anyone like, I have money that I could throw away?
My husband saw one the other day.
Yeah.
He actually, the guy opened the whole thing up and showed it to him.
It's like $92,000. But that's not the kicker. The kicker is, if you want to buy this thing or customize your car online, it costs $2,500 to sign up to register to customize the car. They're like serious buyers only, right? This car has a 17-inch flat panel screen inside the car. It's a big distraction, I would think. But if you don't learn how to use this vehicle along with that, you're not going to be able to drive the car. It's just not going to work. Everything's going digital. In fact, I like knobs. I like to be able to look at the road, but turn the air conditioner and know where it's going. I rode a Buick one time. I had to push buttons. I didn't know if it was getting hotter or colder. All right? It's about context. What do people want? So let's bring it back. Tell me I'll forget, show me I'll remember. What's the phrase?
Tell me I'll forget, show me I'll remember.
Fill in the blank. What's the rest of it? Who knows? Close. Involve me, I'll understand. Now, let me ask an honest question. How many of you gained more from this session through the experience than through the content already? You're seeing it in action, you're like, now I know how I need to do some training. Or now I know what I need to do differently. And that's the whole point, right? If you tell people, yeah, they're going to forget. I'm going to give you the model, I'll explain it too. Show me, I'll remember, but if you get me doing it, involve me, I will understand it. So that's what the learn, say, do, reflect model is. And it's got to be what? Because if you're not going to have fun, how much are you going to remember? Not much, not very little, okay? Here's why. Attention span. We have attention deficit span, don't we? About 4 to 20 minutes. You think of every movie you've seen, you think of YouTube videos, you think of anything you've seen, countless examples, they're 4 to 20 minutes, right? Songs. How many of you know the song November Rain? How many of you get tired of listening to that song? Or you just fast forward to the part where it's good, right? It's too long. It needs to be 4 minutes or less. YouTube videos. How long do you listen or watch a YouTube video before you get tired of it? A couple minutes, right? You go to the movies. Every 4 to 20 minutes, the scene completely changes, or they change something about the character or the development, or the conversation changes. It's everywhere. You read in magazines. How long does it take you to read an article before you go, I don't want to read this article anymore? How many minutes do you invest in the article? Well, how many of you would say shorter articles are better? How many of you are like, I love reading long articles? Nobody. And everyone else is like, I don't read. Right? TED, how long are TED Talks? 4 to 20 minutes. They have 3-minute talks, and they have 20-minute talks. And on average, they're about 17, 18 minutes, right? And then the news. How quickly, if you're watching the news, does it flip from one thing to another to another? This is everywhere. So when you design your trainings, everything needs to change within 4 to 20 minutes. And you'll experience that. That's what we're doing today, right? So here's the cone of learning, adapted by Edgar Dale from 1969. Who's familiar with the cone of learning? Oh my God, I'm going to drop dead. Really? Okay. This is a big deal. Yeah, I am going to drop dead. This is a big deal. This has been around since 1969. Then the research shows that 2-week retention. Okay, so it's about 2-week retention. We remember 10% of what we read 2 weeks later. That's it. So reading, not all that effective method of learning. We retain 20% of what we hear through a lecture. That means you're going to forget 80% of what you learned at this conference within 2 weeks. We retain 30% of what we see through visuals. So if you saw a visual aid, you have a better chance of remembering it. We retain 50% of what we hear and see, like a demonstration. We retain about 70% of what we say if we participate in it. How many times have you repeated after me? Think about it. You're going to remember the what model? Got it. Right? But 90% of what we say and do, what we participate in, a simulation. You get on the bike, you ride it. I give you a phone, I talk to you about the phone, and we do it. Start applying this. Look it up. This is our, we like to say, a better looking version of the cone of learning. But you can Google this. It's everywhere. It's been around for a long time. Adapt the cone of learning. And all you need to remember is we need people to simulate, say and do stuff. All right? Is this making sense so far? Yes or yes? Yes. If it is, give me an oh yeah. If it's not, don't say anything. All right, so learn, say, do, reflect. It's against standard practice. Turn to your neighbor, take a moment, and ask them, what does this mean to you? But also answer the question. Don't come to the Where are you with it so far? What's making sense? So think about it. Did you experience it on a different level when talking to somebody about it? Did it make more sense to you and then also to them? You ever notice when you say something out loud, it's different than just thinking about it? You could think, I'm going to go to the gym this week. But as soon as you say it out loud, you're like, I'm going to go to the gym this week. Then if you tell it to 10 people, they're like, you better go to the gym this week. Right? And they help you reflect. They reflect you. Okay? So here it is. Concepts, statistics, pictures. I mean, read it out loud with me. Graphics, questions, metaphors, stories, quotes, videos, music, and humor. These are all ways that people learn, yes?
Yes.
This is the easy part. And if you take a look at what we've done so far, how far we are into it, we're about 45 minutes. How far are we? Yeah, 45 minutes in. We've done everything but watch a video. So what do you think we're going to do right now? I have to stand on this angle because if I watch it, I'm going to cry. But here's the whole idea. So there's Johnny. It wasn't about what he was trying to do or what he was trying to say, but he labeled himself. He gave himself a context. He said, I'm just a bagger. And if he lives his life with that context, how is he going to approach the rest of his life? In an inspiring way or in an imprisoning way? Think about it. You've got to change the context of it, right? So then the second piece is say. You've got callbacks, you've got journaling, and we've got sharing. You've been calling back, right? You get that? You've been calling back, you've been writing things down, you've been journaling, and then we've been sharing with other people, whether it's you're sharing with your partner or you're sharing with us. That's easy. But how many sessions have you been to where that was actually part of the... It's easy. It's so easy to get people to say, and what did we just say? And you retain 20% more by doing that. Why aren't we doing this? So you've got learn, say. The next piece is do. There's a couple of big ways you can do this. One of them, exercises and games. That's simulation learning. Or tools, which is a system for application. So you get a handout or something. It's a system. So you can apply it over and over and over in the same way. Now, do you think I can explain do to you without doing something about it? No way. Everyone stand up. I'm going to grab this chair. Spread out a little bit. We've got a big enough room we can do this. We're going to do something called the finger point. It's not the one you've heard of before. It's not that. So here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to put your feet about shoulder width apart. Now, are you willing to play and have some fun?
Yes.
Or do you want me to do the serious version of this? We'll play and have some fun?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I want you to use the power of your imagination. It makes it a little bit more real. Imagine you brought your drills with you. Hold your drills up in the air. Check them. Go. Make sure they work. I want you to drill your feet into the ground on the count of 3. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Now you got pins in your hips. They keep you stiff. Pull them out. Go. Okay, now I'm going to do the hula. All right, come on, you can do this. Some guys are like, I don't. All right. Now one more thing, grab your ears and go like this. Whoop, 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 whoop. That's for me. All right. Now I'm going to show you what we're about to do, and then we'll do it together. So make no move. Here's what we're going to do. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to raise your right arm. It's going to look like this. Just like that. Nice and simple. We use sound effects. Then I'm going to ask you to turn to the right as far as you can. So you'll turn to the right without moving your feet because they are drilled in. Good. You're going to turn to the right as far as you can. Lock in your vision to what you're looking at. Then I'm going to ask you to call it out loud. So you'll call it out. So I would say, wall. All right. Great. Exciting, right? Come back. clap, put your hands down. Is that easy?
Yeah.
All right, on the count of 3 with sound effects, raise your right arm. 1, 2, 3. It's more fun when we all do it. On the count of 3, turn to the right as far as you can, going over people's faces. 1, 2, 3, go.
Finger.
All right, look at that real clearly. You see it? All right, come back and clap. Drop your hands. Drop your eyelids. Close your eyes. I promise I won't touch you. I'm not making any commitments about anybody else. Here's what I want you to do. In your imagination, I want you to simply visualize yourself raising your right arm. And visualize yourself pointing. And imagine yourself turning right now in your mind. And you visualize that point that you just called out loud. And when you see it clearly, I want you to say yes. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Call out that point out loud. What's it called?
Chair.
Awesome. Now, the greatest leaders of all time use visualization. This is what they do. So the greatest Olympic athletes, let's go back to Olympic skiers, right? The greatest Olympic skiers have skied down that mountain 1,000 times before they ever put their skis on. Keep your eyes closed. I didn't say open them. Don't look at what I'm doing. I'm making faces at you. Okay? So the greatest Olympic athletes have skied down that mountain 1,000 times before they ever put their skis on. So I want you to simply imagine yourself stretching 1 inch further than you did. Imagine yourself going 2 inches, 3 inches, 4, 5, 6 inches. Because in your mind, what's possible? Anything, right? Anything and everything. So imagine, now you're 1/2 foot. Now stretch a little bit further. You're a whole foot further. So imagine turning your body a whole foot further than you just did. Now 1.5 feet. Now you're like Gumby. I could use that reference. We all get that. Now you're 2 feet further. Nothing can stop you. You're like rubber bands. You're stretchy. Right? When you get to a new point in your mind, I want you to call it out loud. Say yes on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Open your eyes with sound effects. Raise your right arm one more time. 1, 2, 3. Now I want you to see how much further you go this time because you put a vision in your mind. On the count of 3, turn to the right, past your first point, and get to your new point. I didn't count yet. 1, 2, 3, go. Get to your new point, past the first point. Stretch a little bit further until your back goes. All right, come back and clap. How many of you went further that time? Could you have gone that far the first time? Yeah. That was the instructions. Why didn't you? Why didn't you?
Good enough.
You went till it was good enough. Okay, thank you for your honesty. What else?
Didn't think they could.
Didn't think you could? Okay, what else?
Yeah,
Recognize and stuff with it.
You found a point that you recognized. You were like, I like that. You went until you were just uncomfortable enough to say, I'm comfortable, I'm good, I'm good here. Right? Now, would you say these are the same, let's be honest, not reasons but excuses we use in the rest of our life?
Yeah.
Right? It's all a metaphor. And if you could help people experience things through metaphors, it changes everything. Right? This is what stops you from getting the sales that you want, or bringing in the right team, or being the hockey coach for your kid, or doing whatever because you went as far as you thought you could or should. You went until you were comfortable. Right? Does this all make sense? Now what's really cool is don't use this just for you. Go back and teach the finger point to other people. I'm gonna give you the script for it. You give me your email, we're gonna do that in a little bit. I'm gonna give you the script for it so you can learn it, you can apply it, you can do it immediately. What's really cool, you can use it to pick up people. Because they go, whoa, magic trick, that was great. If you need to though, you could also use it to get rid of people. You have them close their eyes, just walk away. Right, on the count of 3, undrill your feet. 1, 2, 3. Give 2 people high 10s. Have a seat.
Can I have one? Oh, good. There we go.
Is that different than me explaining to you your boundaries and your personal limitations? Is that a different experience? I've done etiquette trainings. You can put physical exercises into even etiquette trainings to make them fun. That's what people will remember. You're going to go back and your boss is going to say, what'd you do at the conference when we did the finger point? What? That is not what we paid you to do. Right? But you're going to remember that experience. And the last piece is reflect. So it's review. So review what you learned, and we're going to do that. And then what are the insights that we gained, and what actions will we take as a result of the experience? Does This all good stuff so far?
Yeah.
Cool, so we are going to review. The session was called Training Fun Again. So look at the clock right now. We have 19 minutes. We're 19 minutes in. I'm not here to give you a content dump. You experienced that for 15 hours already at this conference. We have 19 minutes left, and now we're going to start reviewing what we already learned. Why would we cut such a large chunk of the session to start reviewing before it's even over? Why would you not give us more content? Why? Retention, you remember more, right? Focus on that. What else? Other thoughts?
The content's already there.
The content's already there. It's not hard, but it's the context. It's understanding how to use the content, right? Other thoughts?
If you tell us more, you can't charge us for anything that we need to
That's awesome. Never got that one before. FYI, we've got 90 hours of curriculum. I can't do that. Right? You're awesome. You get the free pony, by the way. All right, so let's begin doing this. Can you remember the lyrics of your favorite songs? What's the answer?
Yes.
Can you recite a scene from your favorite movie?
Yes.
Right? Can you recite your favorite poem? Yes. Who can do this? How about, do you ever find yourself singing your kid's favorite songs? Yes. In the shower? Can you ever catch yourself singing a commercial jingle? Yes. Right? Can you recall moments in your life based on things that you've seen or heard? Yes. Right? What makes this all possible? The answer is context, and you're going to tell us by answering this question, what makes training fun? You've been through it for an hour, about an hour. So what makes training fun from your experience now having done it? Get into a group and start the conversation with them. Ask them what they learned and tell them what you've learned. Take 2 or 3 minutes to start reflecting. Take a moment and do it now.